And good Tuesday morning. It is Masters Week. Welcome to episode 58 of the Inside Drive podcast. Got my good friend and one of the show's longtime sponsors, Alan Watson from Golf Plus. He's the owner operator, and about halfway through, it is Masters Week, so I got to have my good friend Keith Fleming on with us to tell us all about the betting favorites, what to do with your DFS lineup, top 20s, top 5s, all that particular good stuff. But first, Alan, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
Appreciate you coming in today. Tell us a little bit about, I'm usually the one that talks about Golf Plus, but since you're in studio with us today, tell us a little about what's going on and what you guys offer down there at Golf Plus.
Yeah, absolutely. So if anybody doesn't know, Golf Plus is a golf fitting studio, retail store, repair shop, a little bit of all that. Primarily, we're a fitting boutique, and we carry all of the major OEM brands, the ones that you're familiar with, Callaway, Ping, TaylorMade, Mizuno, and all those. We also carry some boutique stuff like Mira from Japan and stuff like that. But primarily that's what we do is fit. When we just brought in a new fitter about 6 weeks ago, his name is Michael Wisniewski. He's a fitter and a teacher, so he's been doing some teaching as well, which has been something that we've been wanting to add and just had not found the right person. So we found that in Michael.
Awesome.
He's super technical and super knowledgeable. He says stuff sometimes that I'm not even sure that I knew, and I've been in the golf business 31 years, so it's pretty wild. Also, my son, McLean, has come back into the business as well. He's been in the golf business for several years, but he's working with us now, and he does a great job in the repair shop and just taking care of folks. So anything that anybody needs for golf, if they're looking for the traditional brands, they're looking to get fitted properly, they're looking to get stuff repaired, just basic regrip all the way to full set reshafts, whatever they want to do, that's what we do at Golf Plus.
And you can even take someone's current clubs, right, and fit them to their particular golf swing?
Absolutely. We call that a retrofit. Sometimes that's just something like a simple change of length or lie angle. Sometimes it's breaking the clubs completely down and rebuilding them, but that's all based on your swing. Like you said, everything that we do is custom to your swing. We're not trying to give you specs based on some golf pro or specs based on your next door neighbor or some guy that you know that just plays good golf. We want to look at exactly what you're doing because everybody's so unique, whether it's not just about height, it's not just about age or skill level, it's really about how you deliver the golf club to the ball. And so we're going to build those clubs dead on spec to make them work for you.
Absolutely. I mean, the right tools make all the difference out there on the course. I believe that's one thing we always say here about
Sure.
Golf Plus. And then and junior clubs too. You have a lot of I forget the name of the brand that you've got right now.
Yeah,
junior
U.S.
clubs.
Kids. We've got some of the U.S. Kids stuff. We've got some Tour Edge. We've got a few other brands as well with junior clubs. We're probably not carrying as much of it as we used to carry, but we've got enough selection and we can get whatever. And definitely with summer coming up in a couple of months, if you're thinking about getting your kids into it or if they're expressing interest, it is definitely a great game, as you know, for father and son, father and daughter, for a whole family to go out and enjoy together. And just a great way to get out in nature. I've always said I'm not much of a hunter. I'm not much of a fisherman. So golf is kind of my way to commune with nature. It's my outdoor experience,
Absolutely. Great stuff there. And of course you have two fitting booths, not just one, right?
Yeah, we use the GC Quad from Foresight, which is the same technology that you'll see a lot of the pros using on the range. It's a great indoor and outdoor technology. We use it indoors. We've got 2 bays, as you mentioned. That's really helped as well, adding that second bay to the store recently, giving us the option to be able to do 2 fittings at once, or if somebody comes in that maybe just wants to take a few swings and test something out. Before, we really didn't have that option if we were busy in fittings, so now we can do both. And it's really been.
And of course, people can not only just get fit and hit a few swings, they can play some golf courses as well.
Absolutely, if they want to. We've got several courses on there. Sometimes people come in, they just want to rent time on the bay just to check their numbers or just to hit some, maybe to stay loose. They haven't had time to go to the course recently. So we do rent time on the bays as well to play courses or practice.
There you go. And of course, you guys are located there in the Edgewater Shopping Plaza.
That's right.
As so many of my sponsors seem to be, right there, right off in between Middle Beach and Front Beach Road. You guys have been there how long now here in Panama City Beach? I know the original Dothan location goes back to 1988.
Yeah, it does. That's crazy. But this location we built 5.5 years ago.
It's been that long
It's
already?
been 5.5 years,
Wow.
yeah. I've been living in Bay County for almost 6 years now, and it's wild to think. So we love it.
No doubt. Pivoting from golf clubs to juice. The official juice of the Inside Drive is Juice and Sunsets. I need to re-up and go see Misty and get some more juices. They are so delicious, but most people aren't getting the vitamins and nutrients their bodies truly need from everyday foods alone. Busy schedules, processed meals, and depleted soil make it harder than ever to fuel our bodies properly. When your body is undernourished, it can't perform at its best. Energy drops, immunity weakens, and inflammation creeps in. That's where fresh, nutrient-dense juices are a simple, powerful way to bridge that gap. They deliver essential vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants in a form your body can easily absorb, helping you feel better, think clearer, and make healthier choices one sip at a time. Visit Juice and Sunsets on Facebook to learn more, or head over to juiceandsunsets.com to place your order for pickup or delivery. And then, of course, we're into a new week, so we have a new American Charlie's Athlete of the Week. We appreciate American Charlie's, also located in the Edgewater Shopping Plaza. The Athlete of the Week is brought to you by American Charlie Grill and Tavern, your go-to spot right here in Panama City Beach. Whether you're catching the game on one of their 15 TVs, grabbing legendary wings, burgers, or home-style fried chicken, American Charlie's delivers every time. Don't miss their daily happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m., and their early Eagle menu with incredible deals. Plus, military and first responders always get discounts. Swing by the shops at Edgewater and tell them the Inside Drive sent you. Last week's American Charlie Athlete of the Week is Nova Ness. She is from Arnold High School. She now has 3 school records in track. She has set 3 different track and field records this season. She broke the 10-year-old record for not only the 100-meter, but also the 200 and the 400-meter. Her 100-meter time was 12.53 seconds. 200-meter time was 25.24 seconds. And then the 17-year-old record of the 400-meter is 1 minute and 66 100ths of Ness on winning the American Charlie's Athlete of the Week, and, of course, breaking those records as well. So a lot of big-time stuff going on over there at Arnold High School right now, not only on the girls' flag football field, but obviously on the track field as well. Do want to mention last night, obviously, Michigan won the NCAA Men's National Championship for college basketball. Not surprising, Michigan, obviously one of the better teams the entire year. Came down to the pretty close game, I thought, there for a little while. But I do want to give a shout out to the Big Ten. Not that I have any kind of allegiance to the Big Ten, but they won the football national championship, men's and women's basketball championship. UCLA is currently number 1 in baseball. There's 2 Big Ten teams left in the Frozen Four. And then Wisconsin won the women's national championship in ice hockey. So kind of a big-time sweep there for the Big Ten when it comes to winning national championships. And then, of course, we had a $100 gift card up for grabs from Firefly, one of our other sponsors, for our ESPN the Fantasy Bracket Challenge, I believe is what it's called. We did one for the Inside Drive podcast. I want to give a shout out to Reed Carroll, who actually picked Michigan to win. He wins the $100 Firefly gift card. And then it basically came down to me and a couple other people based on who would have won the final 4 games. If Illinois would have beat UConn, would have been me, which I'd rather somebody win anyway besides myself. And then 2 people had picked Michigan in the top 4, and then a couple other people picked Arizona. But again, congratulations to Reed Carroll on winning the Inside Drive podcast bracket challenge. Appreciate everybody that participated. I think we had about 30-ish people in that one. Speaking about contests, you need to get into the Inside Drive Masters Fantasy Challenge. Got some great prizes up for grabs. Alan from Golf Plus has donated a $50 gift card, and then Scott and the guys from the Back 9 Panama City Beach donated a 1-month free membership where you can actually say it's a buddies package where you can, I think it's 2 hours worth of time on one of their simulator bays, and that's up to 5 people. But here we are, we're at Masters Week. Augusta National, simply nothing like it out there in golf. The Masters Tournament isn't just golf, it's tradition, history, and moments that define the game. From the iconic green jacket ceremony to the exclusive champions dinner, from the legends teeing it up as the honorary starters to the chaos of Amen Corner, Augusta National certainly hits different. Even the patrons do things differently. No phones, no nonsense, just pure golf. And somehow a pimento cheese sandwich still costs less than your morning coffee. Today we're going to talk all in on the Masters storylines, predictions, everything you need to know heading into the biggest week of golf. Alan, I'll start with you. What's your favorite moment from either watching or being at the Masters?
Well, my wife and I were lucky enough to be there in 2019 on Sunday when Tiger won. So that's the big standout for my brain.
Not much is going to top that.
No, I mean, we're walking up trying to get a view at 18, and it's 40 patrons deep all around. So I told her, I said, we're not even going to be able to see this. We had been watching him. He was playing with Finau and Molinari, and we had been kind of walking around. You know, we would catch him for 2 or 3 holes, and then we'd go catch some other guys and see some different. And it was just really, we had an amazing day. It was a lot of fun. But at the very end, when you kind of thought he was going to win, then you couldn't even see it physically unless you had been camped out on 18 all day, because I mean it was just like a mob scene up there. So just amazing. But that roar was unbelievable. Just knowing that he had a chance to win, you know, in what turned out to be sort of the twilight of his career, because he's just had so many problems since then. Yeah, it's just one of those things I'll never forget, being there on Sunday when Tiger won.
Still such an amazing victory. I mean, what was it, 2008 was his last major championship at Torrey Pines, or did he win another one after that?
I would have to look in the annals of history, because he won so many.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, obviously he did win more early, like a lot of guys do.
Absolutely.
And you know, it felt a little more like when Jack won in the early 80s with that, when he was like 46 or whatever. It was kind of late in his career. Didn't feel quite as old as when Mickelson won the PGA at, what, 51 years old or 50, whatever. That was really aged in terms of when you don't generally win majors at that age. But yeah, it was just really special for everybody in golf, because probably at the beginning of the week definitely wasn't a favorite, but he was a fan favorite, and he was somebody that everybody wanted to see win, and for that to happen, it was pretty crazy.
Unexpected, but it's kind of expected at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Some of those traditions up there at the Masters, obviously the green jacket, it actually has rules. The winner gets the iconic green jacket, but can only keep it for 1 year. After that, it stays at Augusta National Golf Club. You're allowed to wear it off property during the first year, but that is it. It goes back to Augusta after that. I didn't know you were only allowed to wear it for a year.
Yeah.
But that makes sense too, though. And then cheap food at a billionaire event. Obviously, famously, their concession prices are always very, very affordable. I don't want to say cheap, because nothing at Augusta is cheap. Their pimento cheese sandwich, egg salad sandwich, that kind of stuff, usually around $1.50. I think your domestic beer is usually around $4. I haven't been since 2015. And then I think your import beer is around $5. So literally $20 can get you 3 or 4 beers, 2 or 3 sandwiches, and you're good to go. It's one of the only major sporting events where prices have not gone through the roof. Players stay in cabins, not hotels. Most players stay in cabins on site at Augusta. The famous Butler cabin is where the winner gets the jacket presentation. It feels more like a private retreat than a golf tournament. Obviously, most people know no cell phones are allowed. I was telling Liam about that the other day. He's like, you're not allowed to bring your phone? He's like, I see everybody at golf tournaments taking pictures with their phones. I was like, not at Augusta. The patrons cannot bring phones on the course. That's why the crowd is so locked in and not staring at the screens. And scoreboards are still manually updated, which I think is one of the coolest things there about the Masters.
For sure.
Especially if you're up on like 16 or 15 and somebody's coming onto the back nine making that charge. Everybody's watching that board, and then once the leader, that number goes blank and then it comes back up there, usually you have a similar type of roar to when the putt or whatever was actually made. No rough, but it's still brutal. Augusta doesn't have traditional rough. Missed the fairway, and you're likely in pine straw under trees. But
the crazy fast greens and all the undulation. To me, that's
the coolest part of the golf course.
Yeah, I mean, the greens are just ridiculous. I mean,
never seen anything like them.
I mean, it's. But you're right. The not having the rough, you'd think that would be something, but then the problem is the ball rolls out even further because there's no heavy grass to catch it.
Exactly.
And now, like you said, you're behind a tree on pine straw. Your footing's not going to be as solid. Striking the ball becomes a little more difficult because you're not used to practicing in those conditions.
Yeah.
So, that it's a unique situation for sure.
Yeah, everybody's like, there's no rough at Augusta? Can't be that hard, can it? Absolutely not. The polar opposite of that. My favorite Masters moment is we were there. I forget which year it was when Phil won. It wasn't 2004. It had to be either 2008 or 2009. When he hit the shot on 13 from the pine straw, we were over there in 14 grandstand, because I love 14 grandstand because you can watch the tee shots on 14 and you can watch all the approach shots on 13. And he was up there in the trees. We couldn't really see him, but you knew he was in the pine straw. And all of a sudden you hear the ball get hit, and then you're just watching the green, and it lands on the front of the green and kind of rolls pretty close to the hole. And then he ended up missing that eagle putt. But the roar and the excitement of that shot coming out of the trees, I just thought about that when you said the pine straw.
Yeah.
Because he was hitting it out of the pine straw, and you see so many guys, like you said, lose lose their footing, slip back when they're pivoting through their shot, and that really can mess some things up. The bird sounds are real, mostly. The birds you hear on TV are mostly real, but the course is so quiet, microphones pick them up more than anywhere else. There's always a debate about how perfect it sounds, but that makes sense because it's so quiet. You can literally hear anything out there. The champions pick their own dinner menu. I think most people know about that. The defending champ creates the entire menu. Tiger Woods served cheeseburgers, sushi, and milkshakes. It's one of the coolest traditions in sports. The course has no advertisements. You won't see sponsor logos all over the course, no big banners, no clutter. It's part of what gives Masters that clean, timeless look. Obviously, there's some big-time sponsors when it comes to the TV coverage. What's like IBM,
Rolex.
AT&T, and Rolex. Yeah. Maybe Mercedes, too.
Maybe, Mercedes. You know, a lot of people don't know about the Champions Dinner, that the champion actually has to pay for that dinner, too.
Really?
The Augusta doesn't pay for it. So like Rory, this will be his dinner Tuesday night, I guess, or whatever, or Monday night, and he will foot the bill for that.
That's crazy. I didn't know that they. I mean, sure, it's not anything too astronomical because really everything is not. You can join. Like if you get in. Liam was asking me how you become a member of Augusta National. I was like, you can't just say, "Hey, I have millions of dollars. I want to join." No, you have to be invited to join.
That's right.
Have you ever played Sage Valley up there?
I have not. No.
I was just going to kind of get into that story about Weldon Wyatt, who tried to join Augusta National. He had to been invited, so he couldn't. So he ended up building Sage Valley, which he doesn't say is like Augusta National, but it's basically exactly like Augusta National. It's got cabins. It's got all that stuff. Really, really good golf course, but he built it because he couldn't get into Augusta because you have to be invited to get into Augusta. So
that's right.
Certainly a different, but I think like your initiation fee is only like $20,000 or something like that. And then they just tell you what you have to pay each year as a member because they get so much money from the sponsors. It's just insane how much money they get. The millions of dollars that they're bringing in.
Yeah.
First timers are called rookies. First time players are called Masters rookies. The first tee is one of the most nerve-wracking shots in golf. Even pros admit their hands shake there. A tradition like any other was famously made famous by broadcaster Jim Nantz, and honestly, nothing fits the Masters better. So some really cool stuff. Is somebody's years this last year? But who was it that was it? Vern that finished up last year?
Yeah, Vern Lundquist.
Yeah,
I mean, he's
17.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of people don't know that too. That the announcers have to be really careful about how they talk. Gary McCord is famously banned from being an announcer for CBS or for anybody doing the Masters because he said that the greens were so slick it looked like somebody had bikini waxed them.
Yeah,
and so you have to be careful. The Masters is very particular about every detail, and until you've been there and seen it, it's just hard to believe and imagine. Like you said, going to a sporting event where the concessions are actually affordable, going where there's no banners and everything, and it's not sponsors everywhere, it definitely has a different feel. It is super quiet. I remember when we were there, Bryson had a hole-in-one, and we were several holes away, and you just heard this huge roar. And of course, because there's no video boards and all that, you don't know what's going on. You can't have a radio. You don't have your phone, so you don't know what's going on. So we walked up to one of the security guys who was dressed in plain clothes, but he had an earpiece, so we knew he was from the club. And we just asked him what had happened, and he told us that Bryson had made a hole-in-one. But that's not normal. Normally at an event, you can see everything, know what's going on.
You have your phone to know what's going on. Yep.
I think they still allow phones during the practice rounds, but they definitely don't allow it once the tournament starts on Thursday.
I thought you could just bring cameras.
Oh, is that what it is? Yeah, just like a traditional old school. Where do you even find one of those nowadays?
I saw a picture yesterday. A guy had those, the green disposable camera. I think it was like a Fiji or something like that. You saw a bunch of people lined up with that. Yeah, I don't think you can bring your phone any days out there.
No, you may be right.
I used to have an actual camera back in the day, and when I would go over there in the afternoons, I'd just go take a bunch of pictures of the golf course with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild, just all the stuff. And then, of course, you've had some controversies over the years with Gary Player's son, I believe it was. Gary Player was not banned, but his son is no longer – Wayne, his son, is no longer allowed to be doing brand work there. Because I think he did something with his brand of golf balls on camera, and Augusta is very strict about no advertising or commercialization, and he did that with his logo golf ball. And Gary Player his son is no longer allowed to be there at the Masters. I'm assuming Player's still an honorary starter right now.
I think so, and I think something must have happened with John Daly. The reason why he's always outside the gates and never in, because I think he must have gotten in trouble for something, or maybe he just doesn't want to go in. I don't know, but famously he was at Hooters for years,
which is no longer
and
there
no longer
anymore.
there. Now he's going to be at a different place, a different bar or whatever, and the fans love that. That's almost as big a Masters tradition for a lot of people as the tournament itself is. Going to see Big John and hang out with him and everything. He's sort of a outlier to the Masters, though.
Yeah, he's that Hooters being gone is certainly an icon that is no longer there. Right there off of Washington Road, just up from the parking lot. I've been to that Hooters a few times when I lived up there. This is kind of a interesting story. I wanted to get your thoughts. I'm assuming it's real. It says, my dad got tickets to the Masters one year and took a friend of his. Apparently, they were walking around on the grounds, marveling at Augusta's beauty and what have you. Normal stuff for a really cool experience. At some point, they got hungry, so of course they went to get some food. Everything was inexpensive, great, part of the charm. My dad told his friend that he had to get a pimento cheese because that's the thing to do at the Masters. No clue if that's true or not, my dad's words. My friend said, okay, go get a pimento cheese, wolf it down, and that was the end of it. That night, back at their hotel, the friend got ill, like deathly ill, getting sick, fevers, hives, the whole thing. They went to the hospital, and his friend recovered enough to drive home. To this point, my dad has still no clue what happened. By the time my dad drops his friend off at his house back in Arkansas, he said to my dad, those pimentos will get you. This man was allergic to pimentos, and the pimento cheese sandwich, and ate the pimento cheese sandwich anyway. When my dad asked why in the world he ate the sandwich, his friend's response was, I wanted the full Masters experience. This guy thinks of that every time he sees the Masters menu, which is...
that's a terrible idea.
Yeah, why would you
do that? Yeah.
But your pork barbecue sandwich is $3, your chicken salad sandwich is $3, your pimento cheese salad and your egg salad sandwich is $1.50. The egg salad sandwich is so good too. Then they have breakfast stuff as well. They got the breakfast sandwich, $3, the chicken biscuit, $3, $2.50 mixed fruit, $2.50 blueberry muffin. And then snacks, you get the Georgia pecan caramel popcorn, that's $2. Cookies are $2, chips are $1.50. The Georgia Peace ice cream sandwich, which is so good, that's $3. And then your Crow's Nest beer, which is I think that's the import beer, that's the green cup. That's $6. White wine is $6, and iced tea or soda and water. And you go to a U.S. Open, I think like a 12-ounce beer is like $20, maybe more, something like that.
I just went to the Braves home opener in Atlanta a week or so ago, and the beer there was starting at about $12.50 for a beer. And but yeah, when we were at the Masters last time, I mean, I remember we tried pretty much all the sandwiches and drinks, a bunch of sandwiches, cookies, chips. Yep. We didn't even spend $20.
Exactly.
And ate just a glut of food, shall we say.
Yep, absolutely.
So, yeah, it's great. The prices are right on because you're going to spend it in the merch tent anyway. You're going to spend thousands in the merch tent unless you just have some level of self-control that most people don't have.
That merchandise facility is unreal.
Oh, yeah, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. But yeah, I remember last time looking at a sweater and I was like, hey, let me get that in a medium. And the guy was like, it's cashmere. And I was like, you know what? Just put it back. It was like $650. I was like, where's the non-cashmere sweater that looks the same but
just need some polyester or some cotton.
So yeah, it's those. I never got one of those gnomes. Those are kind of the big thing now.
Every year they have something. It seems that's the big popular item that everybody's trying to get. The gnomes seem to be on like a good 3 or 4 year run now at this point. I know when we were up there one time before my last time I went up was 2015. I think it was like a beach bag or something like that. That was super popular. But you got to get in there early and you got to get in there fast. It's like I was telling my friend Ian the other day about the chair tradition, which wasn't mentioned on the tradition thing I was leaving. There's not one other sporting event in the world, maybe there is, that I just don't know about, where you can go in the gates first thing, run to the 18th green, put your chair down, and your chair stays there the rest of the day. No one will sit in it or move your chair. Not many sporting events where you have that kind of unwritten rule, I guess is the right thing to say about that. So
it's definitely a unique tradition for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. So you don't have to, as long as you're willing to get there right when the gates open and you've got some good speed on you, you can get your chair where you want it to be. But then, of course, it's going to stay there the rest of that particular day. So again, kind of just going over all the different stuff there at Augusta National. We have a master. I think I mentioned it briefly, but I'll tell you how to get to it. Just go to our Facebook page, Inside Drive Podcast. I believe I pinned it at the top of the page. It is the Masters Fantasy Challenge. Right now, we got about 25 people in there. So you've got until, I believe, it might end Wednesday night at right before midnight. If not, just get it in before that first tee time on Thursday morning, which I believe in our particular time zone is what, right around 7 o'clock, because I think the opening ceremony is 8 o'clock Eastern time. There's some water there if you want to grab something real quick.
I'm sorry, bro.
You're fine. You're fine. It happens to me all the time. That's why I bring my water. I talk so much. Let him get some water real quick. Real quick, talking about the Masters Fantasy Challenge. Allen Golf Plus $50 gift card, and then the Back Nine Panama City Beaches also donated I think it's like a Back Nine Bash. It's a couple hours in the simulator with you and 4 other friends. All you got to do is go to our Facebook page and find that Masters Challenge. It's just a couple posts down. If it's not pinned, I'll make sure it's pinned when I finish up the show here today. All you got to do is go to the Masters website or app, sign up, and then you just pick your golfers. Super, super easy to do. Speaking of picking golfers, Alan, I'm going to put you on the spot and get your particular thoughts on who do you think, if you were to pick somebody to win, obviously it's such a crapshoot to see who's going to win, especially at Augusta.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm going to say Bryson DeChambeau is going to be my top pick.
I'd love to see him win the Masters.
Oberg, Ludwig Oberg is be my second pick. And oh man, I'm sorry. I would say probably Justin Rose. Would see him doing well. As all those guys are having good years and a lot of different reasons. And like you said, it's a little bit of a crapshoot with any golf tournament, but especially this one that requires precision, requires patience, it requires having a great week on the greens for sure. And you got a field that's just full of guys who could do that, but somebody's going to come out on top. And I think a lot of people would love to see Bryson do it.
Absolutely.
Finally.
And we'll talk a little bit about more here in just a second, but you have to have played Augusta before. There's hardly any first-time winners that ever win the Masters tournament just because the golf course is so particularly challenging. Before we take a quick break, I want to talk about Panhandle Credit Union. They are about quality relationships, whether it's donating to a community event, sponsoring your child's sports team. They are here in the community to help us out. Check out their great banking products, loans, savings, checking accounts, mortgages, whatever your banking needs are, Panhandle Credit Union can handle it. Visit any branch location or head online to panhandlecu.org. We're going to take a quick break. It's episode 57 here on the Inside Drive podcast. Alan, appreciate you coming in. Good luck and enjoy the Masters, and I'm sure we'll talk to you soon. Thank you again for donating that $50 gift card. Inside Drive podcast, we'll be right back with Keith Fleming. And welcome back, episode 57 of the Inside Drive podcast. If there was one guy to talk to this week, it is Keith Fleming, and he is on the line with us. He is the golf expert for Fantasy Six Pack. You want to tune in if you want to get your bets in. Hard Rock Bets is rocking and rolling right now for the Masters. Our favorite week of the year, fair to say, Keith. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on as always.
Of course.
Um,
Wasn't not going to
yeah,
have
it's
you on this
weird that
week.
golf and NASCAR kind of seem to have their biggest event very early in the season, but there's few things I look forward to more than Masters weeks.
Right? Absolutely. It should be a fun one coming up this week. The weather looks good up there in Augusta. A lot of people are talking about how dry it's going to be, which may weigh in a little bit to what your picks and the different things that we're going to talk about here over the course of the next 20, 30 minutes. A little bit drier. The last couple of years, it's been certainly a little bit wet up there at Augusta. And I'd prefer, how would you prefer it to play, Keith? Soft or firm and fast?
I mean, I personally prefer firm and fast. I just think it opens it up for more players to have a chance to win because don't get me wrong, driver distance is still a huge factor, carry distance. We talked about that being able to hit the ball high into greens. But I do think that the firmer and faster it plays, it's going to bring guys that say rely more on roll off the tee. It's going to allow them to be, not at such a disadvantage. And then I just think it makes it harder to hit greens in regulation when this is already a very difficult venue to hit greens in regulation. And, I do think it's a deal where the lower the score gets, the less guys have a chance to win, to where the closer it is to par, you're going to bring a lot more guys, into play that have a chance to win it. Like guys like Russell Henley, those kind of players, they want it to be really firm and fast. I have no doubt about that.
Absolutely. We were talking about a little with Alan Watson from Golf Plus before he had to take off, just talking about how there's no rough on this golf course. So when the ball is rolling hard towards the rough, it'll end up going under the trees, into some pine straw and some different things. So if you're hitting it a little bit crooked, that could be a big disadvantage when it's firm and fast. Keith, what are some of the main statistics that you looked at for Augusta National when making your decisions on your DFS alignments and your picks to win top 5, top 10, top 20, etc.?
Well, I mean, for starters, and anybody who's followed this tournament for forever is well aware of this, it's, history at the venue.
Yeah.
This is the most predictive venue on tour by a mile. It's why guys like Fred Couples, Bernhard Langer, et cetera, seem to make the cut into their, 60s with, some regularity. And you see guys who find success here seem to find success over and over and over again. It's also why you don't see, what they call debutantes, guys with their first time. Typically, they struggle here a little bit. We've had examples of guys that have done very well in their first trip, Oberg just a few years ago. But overall, it usually takes at least 2-3 times playing Augusta National to kind of figure it out. So that was obviously a really big one. It's really a second shot golf course. When you're trying to stop the ball on those very firm surfaces with areas of runoff and, et cetera. You have to obviously be able to put it in the right place. It's very long. All the par fours here are super long. So, obviously scrambling, bogey avoidance is something that's huge. You really want to lean in for the scrambling into guys who excel on venues, off of tight lies, right? Because some players play very well when, there's like thick rough around the greens. This is not one of those venues. This is a venue where you're going to have super tight lies going, uphill. Potentially the chip can come back to your feet very easily if you don't catch it clean or, carry it far enough. And then you got to make a lot of 5 to 10 footers because it is so hard to judge pace on lag putts. So 3-putt avoidance was also something I really looked into.
Absolutely. So many factors that go into this particular golf course that unless you've been there, you don't understand how challenging and wild this particular golf course is, especially in this day and age where they get the greens down. So I was watching some stuff too and doing some research before we go up there that they've the areas around the greens, the closely mown areas, they're a little bit thicker. They were saying so like the ball can actually sit down a little bit more in like between clumps of the ryegrass and stuff like that. I don't know how much of a factor that may be if the ball's not quote unquote sitting up on top of that grass and kind of nestles down a little bit. That may make it a little harder to control that spin, which is so important at Augusta when you're pitching and chipping from 5 to 20 yards off the green complex.
No, absolutely. But it is also one of those deals, and that's what I always tell people, rather than guessing, because we don't know what that kind of change will do. I don't really worry about that, right? Like next year, if they do it again, then we would have a sample size
Yeah.
of, okay, how did it affect certain players? But anytime there's a new addition to a venue that we know very well, I want to see actual results from that change before I, really edit what I'm looking at. And I mean, this is a venue that you can pretty much pick your guys. Like I could have probably done this in January, to be honest. I mean, don't get me wrong. Recent tee to green form is huge. If you look at the guys that have won it in recent years, they've entered the event top 20 in the world in tee to green, strokes gained over the last 36 rounds. They've had to be top 30 in the official world golf ranking. Like there are these things that are true trends that you need to pay attention to. I doubt you're going to see a long shot. It's one of those deals where I would recommend, instead of betting somebody who's even 60, 80, 100 to 1, if you really like them this week, bet them to top 5, top 10, top 20, because that's way more likely to hit than it's been quite some time since we've had somebody shocking win this event. And even like the last one of those, who was Danny Willett, he was still top 15 in the world at that point. So it's going to be one of probably the top guys that end up winning this event.
Well, only a couple first-time ever Masters winner in the history of the tournament, right?
I believe it's just Fuzzy Zeller in 1979. I believe he is the only player ever to do that. I really like the group of guys that are making their debut this year. Chris Gotterup and Jacob Bridgman, you could easily say, are playing as good as anybody on the PGA Tour. Gotterup hits it a mile, just destroys par fives. Like those are two big things at Augusta National. So I can understand why people are really backing him. And then Bridgman is just such a good putter, along with everything else. Like he's an above average iron player, he's an above average in driving distance, but his putting is what separates him. I mean, he's leading the tour and strokes gained putting and total putting and 3-putt avoidance, and he's second in average made feet of putts per round. So I mean, no matter kind of what you look at it, dude can really roll the rock, and I think that would be a huge advantage, especially again if it plays really firm and fast, and the scores are a little bit higher than the last couple of years.
Yep, got her up right now on Hard Rock, which is always the ones I'll reference on this show because it's legal here in the state of Florida. Is currently 4-1 to top 10. I think that's pretty good. And then Bridgman is 5-1 to top 10. I think I like both of those. And as you enlightened me about not too long ago, you can now parlay multiple bets in top 5, top 10s, top 20s, even top 30s, and then of course winners as well. So some solid value there for both Bridgman and Gotterup.
And it's a weird Masters because we enter with, I mean, it's been quite some time. I think 2012 was the last time we had a Masters winner who did not tee it up either of the two prior events before Augusta. And that would eliminate, if that trend continues, pretty much everybody. Like none of the live guys have played in the last 2 weeks. Scotty hasn't played in the last 2 weeks. Rory hasn't played in the last 2 weeks. Colin hasn't played. I mean, it would really throw out a lot of the big names there. Jon Rahm, in my opinion, should be the betting favorite. You're getting him at 8-1. Like he's playing much better than Rory and Scheffler right now. He just is. Like if you look at his numbers on the Live Tour, he's been just so consistent. This is a guy that has the record at this venue, 5 top 15s, 4 top 10s just since 2019. I think that it took him a couple of years to get used to the Live Tour. His results on the Live Tour were also not nearly as strong as they've been this year. And I think he knows he has an opportunity this week to really grab, at least part of the best golfer in the world title again with a win, because it would be his second, green jacket, be his third major. And it's just, I think, a really good opportunity because Scheffler is struggling with his irons. Rory, it's almost impossible to go back to back. Only three guys in the history of the game have done it. No one since Tiger Woods all the way back in 2005. I mean, defending champs have only finished in the top 10 three times in the last 20 years. So it's not just hard to win. It's hard to just
Play
compete
well when you get back. Yeah.
And I mean, we understand it, right? There's so many obligations of the Masters champion. So it's understandable, but I think it does kind of leave it wide open for those guys kind of in that, 20 to 31 range. And there's a lot of guys playing really good golf, but I'm anchoring all my DraftKings cash lineups, or a majority of them, with Rahm at 10K. I think he's underpriced, and I would be surprised if he doesn't have a good tournament.
Yep, Rahm is certainly one of the names that's been talked about quite a bit. And like you said, if you're doing DFS for the Masters, I would certainly make sure Rahm is on there. And only 10K, you said, Keith?
Yes, he's right at 10K. DeChambeau's 10.2, Rory's 11.5, and Scheffler's 14, which I've tried to build some cash lineups with Scheffler because, death taxes, playing Scotty Scheffler in cash.
Games. Yep.
It's really difficult to do. I mean, it's not impossible, but you're basically going to have to play either numerous 6K guys or all guys that are like 7,300 and below just by putting Scheffler in your lineup.
Right. What do you think about Bryson? You think he's got a legit shot to win this week, or is he not playing enough U.S. Tour golf?
No, I think he definitely has a chance. I mean, he's proven in the last two Masters that he's getting closer. A lot of people, including apparently himself, per what's her name, Amanda Bolanos or whatever her name is from CBS, that Bryson basically said that he gave that away to Rory last year. And he was really frustrated when he saw that Rory and Rose were headed to a playoff because he thought Rory was then going to give it away to Rose. And he did. Like, he kind of gave that tournament away. He had, remember, the lead after the first hole. So, I mean, it was there for the taking.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That was wild.
Well, I mean, the only thing that worries me about him, because, I mean, the proof's in the pudding. The last 12 majors, 7 top 10s, 5 top 5s. Like, he has figured out major championship golf. There's no doubt about that. I just wonder, can he be a little less aggressive here? Because I think that ultimately his aggressive nature is what gets him into trouble. But similar to Jon Rahm and honestly Patrick Reed, who's another guy I really like, the irons are much better coming in this year than they've been in the previous 2 years, where, again, he finished, 6 or better each of those last 2 years. He still dominates his venue off the tee, gaining a ton of strokes, with his distance. And he's figured out how to putt the greens the last 2 times here, where he's gained strokes in each of the last 2 Masters on the greens. If he does that and his iron numbers are better, Bryson absolutely could win this tournament. And, I mean, it wouldn't even surprise if he kind of ran away with it if none of the other guys bring their A game.
Yep, he's certainly been playing some really good golf, and if you're looking at trends to follow, he is following a lot of those particular trends. Keith, give us like 3 favorites in each category: winner, top 5, top 10, top 20.
So again, the winner favorite, I would say Rahm would be number 1. The guy I'm most interested, though, to see also from a winner perspective is Cameron Young.
Yeah.
He missed the cut here last year, but he has history at this venue. He finished 9th in 2024, 7th in 2023. He hits it plenty far. I mean, he's 4th in strokes gained off the tee this year, 45th in driving distance. He's been very good on approach, which that was the one weird thing from last year was, he really turned it around the last 6-7 months of the 2025 season, but his iron game was not very good. Like, both his wedges and his long irons, he's corrected that to where he's, top 25 right now on approaches of 200 plus yards. That's a big deal at a venue like Augusta where you're going to have a ton of shots into greens from that distance. He's really improved his short game and putting. Like he is now a borderline elite putter for going on the last year. He was top 10 last year in strokes gained putting. He's 42nd entering the event this year in strokes gained putting. No surprise. That means he's gotten a lot better at scrambling. He's 25th in it. And it's a good recipe when you're 11th in bogey avoidance and 11th in birdie or better percentage. That means you're making as many birdies as just about anybody out there, and you're also not making the big numbers. He definitely fits the bill for that tee to green in the last 36 entering the event. And I mean, this is a guy that I think you agree with this, that I thought he would have a major championship by now. But he finally got, the win off of his back, not to mention 2024, Scotty Scheffler won the Players, went on to win the Masters. 2025, Rory McIlroy won the Players, went on to win the Masters. This year's Players champion, Cam Young. So can he follow that trend of the last 2 years? I think it's definitely plausible. And you're getting him for a little bit better odds. And obviously those guys like Rahm, DeChambeau, Rory, Scheffler.
Yep, absolutely. Trends are certainly some things that you want to latch onto. I mean, and that it's just kind of a coincidence, but coincidences are real things. So you've got Rahm, Young, who's another one, and then we'll talk about some top 5s, 10s, and 20s real quick.
I was going to say, we can go ahead because I think he can win it, but I really like him. It's just across the board, and that's Patrick Reed. I mean, since 2021, he has finished 12th or better 5 times at Augusta. I mean, he's top 10 in strokes gained at Augusta National, and you can throw out his win. Like, start that after his win in the mid-2010s. So he's just somebody who plays this venue very well. He's made the cut in 12 of the last 13 majors. At Augusta the last 3 years, he's gained strokes on approach, around the greens, and putting in each of them. Those are obviously huge statistics for Augusta National every year. But the reason I feel so confident about him is he's just so good on and around the greens always. But he is having the best iron game, at least season, for like the last 6 months of his entire career. It's not even close. Like, he is actually gaining strokes consistently right now in the DP World Tour events, with his irons. And if that continues, he's got a real chance to win. This is a guy that's already picked up 2 wins on the DP World Tour in the last 4 or 5 months. And one of the easiest ways for him to sort of just get right back on the PGA Tour would be to win a major, right? Like, he's sort of doing his penance right now with the DP World Tour. But I promise you, if he wins that major, they would be able to justify just kind of moving him over to the PGA Tour by the end of the season. So I really do love Reed. He's getting pretty good odds to top 5 and top 10. He's also just a great value at $9K on DraftKings, and in cash game lineups. They need to make the cut, or in these contests, right, that you're doing where you're picking 4 or 6 golfers. They need to make the cut. Patrick Reed is one of those guys that I feel very safe will make the cut, and I think that he's going to be in contention, come the weekend.
You can parlay Cam Young and Patrick Reed top 10 for plus 1060. So almost 111 to 1. Or 110 to 1. So based on what she's saying, I think like that's a really good one, especially since now you can parlay them together. What about top 10s, Keith? Give me 2 names top 10, then 2 names top 20.
You got it. So 2 top 10 guys. Minwoo Lee has just been really playing well this season. Made the cut in every event. He's made the cut in 3 out of 4 Masters. He's kind of reaching that, experience at Augusta where it's about the time and he's at about the age that he should start performing well here. And he fits the bill. He hits it a mile. He's 13th in driving distance. He's very good around the greens, 27th in strokes gained around the greens. And what I love is, like, he's playing every hole very well. Like, he's 30th in par 4 scoring, 6th in par 3 scoring, and 2nd in par 5 scoring. And par 5 scoring is so huge this week because there's really only 5 to 6 holes each year that play under par. 4 of them are always the par 5. So you have got to take advantage of the par fives. I think Minwoo Lee can do that. Another guy that I still think the live tax is out there, and it's Terrell Hatton, who he's made the cut in 7 straight Masters, finished T14 in 2025 here, T9th in 2024. He's finished 16th or better in 3 of the 4 majors last year. And he's just built for this, tournament. Like, I don't think he can win it because of his temperament and his issues with his putter. But for a guy to make a top 10, like, he just has the game for it. And that's why he's been right there each of the last 2 Masters at 14th and 9th.
Yeah, absolutely. Another good name there that we'll be watching into the weekend, hopefully.
The top 20 guys, again, the rookies are interesting to watch, even though typically they don't have a lot of success here. But the first guy that I'm thinking of is Harris English. Made 4 straight cuts at the Masters, 23rd or better in 3 of his last 4. He's made 8 straight major cuts made in that span, 5 top 25s, 2 runner-ups. He's a guy that just plays better on difficult golf courses and deep fields because he hits it, pretty well off the tee. He's 33rd strokes gained off the tee, and he's an elite putter. He's 12th in strokes gained putting. So I really like English. If you're looking for a couple of deep plays, Sungjae Im in 6 Masters appearances. He's finished 16th or better 4 times, 8th or better 3 times. And his biggest issue is always his putting. For whatever reason, he putts really well here, even with the miscut, because his last 4 have been 5th, miscut, 16th, 8th. He's gained at least 0.84 shots on the field on the greens. Normally, if Sungjae Im does that with his ball striking, he's always going to be in contention. So if that really is something where he just has the ability to putt on these greens, I think he's a very good play for top 20. And then one you can get some really good odds on is Haitong Lee, who I know he enters in really bad form. He's missed 4 straight cuts. But if you go all the way back to when he was a very young man, he was in this event in 2018 and 2019 as somebody in their young 20s. He made the cut in both of those, finishing 32nd and 43rd. He finished 4th last year in the Open Championship. The major he had played before that last year was T17 to the 2020 PGA. He's somebody who has made the cut in 5 of his 6 career major championships, and he fits the bill. I mean, he's really good on a long iron shots, 37th. He's good against par 5s. He's 28th on those. He's 28th in strokes gained off the tee. And, he's got the game around the green, too. That's why he's 55th in scrambling and 61st in bogey avoidance. So I think Haitong Lee, you're getting some real juice, and, why not take a little bit there?
He's going out first, too, and somebody that always goes out in that first group does something pretty magical in that first round. Now, will that carry over all the way through the second round? That's the question. But usually somebody going out early puts up a decent number. At least I can remember that, so to speak. Keith, you do all the work that nobody has to do. Tell them where they can find all that work that you've already put all the legwork in to make sure that these picks are justified to have all the stuff behind them.
And I was on top of my stuff this week, Ryan. Like, both the cheat sheets and the notes are already updated. Those are on fantasy6pack.net, as well as my preview article is already up. It's on fantasy6pack.net. And then tonight at 9 p.m., me and Scott Porter will be joined by the model maniac himself, Byron Ledecky, for a Masters preview. Byron is one of the smartest dudes on the planet. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to talk our favorite DFS plays, our favorite bets, and that's 9 p.m. Eastern on the Fantasy Six Pack YouTube channel. And then I'd appreciate it if you want to give me a follow on Twitter. That is at Keith Fleming. That's KeithFleming. And I started finally posting on TikTok after like a year hiatus for reasons. I don't know. I think I was just being lazy. It is the same at Keith Fleming, but with DFS at the end.
Absolutely. Check out all that stuff. If you don't want to do all that work to make sure you're putting the right bets in there, Keith has already done that work for you, and it's available there on the internet. Just go to fantasy6pack.net, click on golf, click on the tee sheet. All the betting information is right there, and of course the DFS action as well. Keith, I know you're certainly going to enjoy the Masters. Hope it's a very successful Masters for you too as well. So appreciate you coming on. As always, follow Keith on Twitter /XKEITHFLEMMING. Masters Week coming up here. And they just announced the tee times for round 1 and round 2. So you want to know what time your favorite player is going off. And then, of course, you need to sign up for our Masters Challenge as well. That's a $50 gift card to a Golf Plus. And then, of course, a back nine birdie bash for 2 hours of simulator time over at the back nine PCB for you and up to 5 people. I was at the back nine PCB this morning, and it was absolutely fantastic. Soft opening around April 20th. That is going to be the place to go and play golf here in Panama City Beach. Keith, appreciate your time as always, and I'm sure we'll talk over the course of the Masters Week.
Have a great one, guys.
All right, take care, Keith. Bye. I'm not kidding when I say this man has done all the work, has all the analytics, all the data, so you're making an educated decision when you want to put your own money out there on the line, whether it's betting, whether it's DFS, whatever your fancy may be. You can do all of it right here in the great state of Florida. I got to make sure I get all my bets in before we leave Florida tomorrow and head up into Georgia, because once you're in Georgia, you can't do anything at that point. Now you can still do DFS when you're in Georgia. Talking about 2 more sponsors before we get out of here. Firefly, looking for an unforgettable dining experience on Florida's Gulf Coast. Firefly in Panama City Beach is that. It's where casual elegance meets world-class cuisine. Whether you're celebrating a special night out or just want phenomenal food with a seasonal vibe, Firefly delivers. From award-winning fresh Gulf seafood to perfectly seared steaks and world-class sushi bar with signature cocktails, every dish is crafted with passion and flair. Step inside and you'll find an atmosphere that's warm, welcoming, and refined, ideal for date nights, celebrations, or simply savoring an evening with friends. With an ever-evolving menu, dedicated service staff, Firefly is more than dinner, it's an experience. Make your reservation today and taste why Firefly is one of the top dining destinations in all of Northwest Florida. Visit their menu online, enjoy fresh coastal favorites, and become part of the tradition. Firefly, located in the shops of Edgewater. Book now at fireflypcb.com and dine with distinction. And as we finish up here on the Inside Drive podcast, as I mentioned with Keith on the line, we've got to shout out one of our newest sponsors, the Back Nine in Panama City Beach. If you love golf, this place is unreal. I put my eyes on it this morning. It is unbelievable in there. It is fantastic. 2 big bays, and they have a private bay as well with these full swing simulator modules in there with them. It's going to be awesome. They've got state-of-the-art golf simulators, full swing golf simulators, where you can play some of the most iconic courses in the world and get real-time data on your swing. The best part, they are open 24 hours, 7 days a week, so you can grind on your game anytime you want. Even better, check out their memberships, unlimited tee times, 24-hour access, bring your buddies, discounts on merchandise and events. Founding memberships are currently on sale, which include a lifetime of discounts. Rain or shine, day or night, Back Nine is the spot to play. Go find the Back Nine PCB on Facebook or head to theback9.com/Panama City Beach and book your bay today. Soft opening, as I mentioned, is scheduled around April 20th. They are located at the Magnolia Plaza off of Navy Boulevard, located next to Publix. Join now and be part of the new way to play golf. Before we get out of here, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow YouTube, Facebook, and of course, we are on all the major podcast sites, Apple, Spotify, Audible, iHeart, wherever you go for your podcasts. The Inside Drive is there. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Don't forget, no show coming up this Thursday, as me and Liam will be heading up tomorrow to Augusta to go watch some of the Masters competition. Last but not least, sign up for our Masters Challenge. It's on our Facebook page. All you got to do is click the link, fill out a little bit of information, and you could win a $50 gift card and a free 2 hours with up to 5 of your friends at the Back Nine PCB. We'll see you guys next Tuesday. Appreciate y'all tuning in, and enjoy the Masters.